especially in his champion of funding for the National Institute of Health. And there are Americans that are alive today who would not have survived if it were not for Arlen Specter. Now that's a legacy to be proud of. I then want to thank
Joe Sestak in the victory speech tonight, gracious in his reference to Arlen Specter, even as Pat Toomey was, and that's the battle that's shaping up for this fall. Sestak versus Toomey, a study in contrasts, to be sure.
Very true.
Yep.
All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with more Election Central.
Congratulations. You're watching 69 News Election Central. Now from the anchor desk, here's Rob Vaughn and Wendy Davis.
Well, I've heard a lot just now in the last few minutes from the winners in the big Senate race. Now let's think about the governor's race once again.
That's right. A lot of the big races already decided, this being one of them. You're looking at the Democratic boards right now for the entire state. As you can see, Honorado from Pittsburgh, the big winner tonight in this one, with about 45% of the vote over Jack Wagner. They're in second place.
And breaking it down a little bit, let's take a look at how the Democratic governor candidates worked in Lehigh County. Honorado did very, very well. In fact, better than the percentage statewide. 54% of the Lehigh County vote went to Honorado. Huffle moves up to second place with 18%. Williams, the state senator from Philadelphia, 15%. And Jack Wagner, 14%.
All right, and now we're looking at Northampton County breakdown. Honorado, the big winner in Northampton County as well, with 54%, and Huffle, who is a popular name here, local and known name, coming in second, which is perhaps a surprise that Honorado was able to pull that much of a vote here in eastern Pennsylvania, being a western Pennsylvania where a few months ago most people around here didn't know his name.
And similar numbers in Berks County as we look at those. 46% Honorado. Again, Huffle next. He is from this part of the state. And we talked a little bit earlier this evening to Joe Huffle.
We're here now with Joe Huffle, who just made a very important phone call to Dan Honorado. Tell me a little bit about that phone call you just made.
Well, I wanted to congratulate Dan on his impressive victory, and he was very gracious about it, and I pledged my full support to him in the fall campaign. Dan's a good man. He ran an excellent campaign. He deserves to have the support of the Democratic Party. He won the support of the party, and I look forward to helping him any way I can.
Now, you were saying to the people who were standing around cheering you on that basically the party has a lot of work to do ahead of it, not just for this election, but inside itself. Talk to me about that work that you see the party needs to do.
Well, I want the Democratic Party to be true to its progressive roots. We're the party that cares about the most vulnerable people, about the so-called least, last, and lost among us. But we also have to create opportunity for middle-income families, investing in jobs, investing in schools, and leveling the playing field for people. That's what Democrats stand for. I want to keep promoting that, those basic progressive principles, and I look forward to that work.
Now, it's going to be a tough race coming up for the general election for the Democrats. The Republicans have some very strong candidates. What do you see as, I guess, the goal to try to make sure that the Democrats hang on to the governor's mansion?
Well, we have to show the voters that we can run the government well, that we can run an open and honest and ethical government that pinches the pennies and makes good use of tax dollars, but that also has the resources and the commitment to invest, to create jobs, to improve schools, to create community revitalization. The Republican Party wants to shrink government and cut taxes and shrink government and cut taxes. That all sounds superficially appealing, but when you then need government to protect the environment or educate your children or fix a bridge that's falling down, you realize that you need a government with resources and a willingness to invest, to create opportunity. So the Democrats need to make that argument, take on the Tea Partiers and say, wait a minute, government is not the enemy. Government needs to be a partner with the private sector and the nonprofit world. Government's got important work to do, and the Democrats are the ones that need to make that argument.
All right, thank you very much, Joe Huffle, for joining us. And I've got to tell you, while Honorado may have come out on top statewide, here in Montgomery County, Joe Huffle was the man. Back to you.
All right, Jaccii Farris, thanks very much.
All right, let's hear from one of the other candidates in that race right now. We're going to go to Anthony Williams. He spoke just a short time ago.
Senator Anthony Williams! Make some noise!
I love you. I love you. I want to share with you one. I'm so glad that you all came out tonight to enjoy this amazing entertainment. Have you enjoyed yourself so far? And we've enjoyed you being here. The reason why we decided to have this concert tonight free, the reason why we decided to have you come here tonight as opposed to another generation, the reason why I have my family, my wife, my mother, my first grade teacher with me tonight is because for the first time in the state of Pennsylvania, they heard your voice. So tonight the press is reporting that another person won the election. But I want you to understand something tonight. Nobody won, nobody lost. We all won here tonight. This is the first time that someone has run for governor who's talked about the importance of life, your life, recognizing that Pennsylvania is the #1 state in the nation leading to homicides for young men. That someone who's running for governor has to talk about taking those guns off these streets across Pennsylvania. The first time someone who's a Democrat can also talk about the arts and a woman's right to choose, but right along with it, they're going to talk about this educational system that is killing our children. That a Democrat, for the first time, can say, I will fund public education, but if I fund it, I'm going to get something back. We're no longer going to allow for our children to go to schools that are unsafe, unkept, not tolerating, not educating. We are going to control this system, not the system control us. I make you this pledge.
Say Senator Anthony Williams, a concession speech, I guess, although he said there are no winners and losers tonight, but he's not the winner in the gubernatorial race in Pennsylvania on the Democratic side. That goes to Dan Honorado from Allegheny County, PA. That's right. He was at the podium a short time ago as well, and we had a chance to hear what he had to say in his victory speech.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to thank all of you for your hard work. Thank you for your support, and thank you for being here tonight. Every one of you, thank you. Today, Pennsylvania voters from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh, from Erie to Scranton, Wilkes-Barre to the Lehigh Valley to all the counties in between, they voted for change today. We are ready to turn our economy around. We're ready to clean up the mess in Harrisburg, and we're ready to get our state fiscal house in order. As your governor, I know together that we're going to be able to win in November. I'm going to need all of you. Now, just moments ago, I spoke with the 3 distinguished candidates who I had the privilege of campaigning with. In this unprecedented campaign, we had over 25 appearances together, and we talked about the issues facing Pennsylvania. And I want to say a few things. Tony asked the hard questions about how to solve some of our most difficult problems in Pennsylvania. Jack Wagner, who I've had the privilege of serving Allegheny County with as a colleague since my first days on City Council. And Jack and I share the taxpayers' dollars must be spent wisely. And to Joe Hoffel, who kept the focus on critical issues like education and health care. I want to thank them for running a spirited campaign. I look forward to working with them. You know, these fine public servants have brought important ideas to the campaign, and I am proud to call them my colleagues and my friends. So I thank them very much. Most importantly, I want to thank my family. My parents taught me the hard work pays off and the value of community not far from here, where I was born and raised, and I still live on Pittsburgh's north side. Right? And I have to point out my mother's with me tonight, and Mother, I want to thank you and thank Dad. Thank you very much. To my wife, Shelley, I got to thank Shelley. My children, Kate, Emily, and Danny, and some of you heard about Danny, he's doing fine. I want to thank you. I'm grateful for your love, your patience, and your support. Thank you all. As we turn our sights to November, the stakes have never been higher. Hard-working families are worried about losing their jobs, losing their savings, losing their homes. Small businesses have been worried about how they're going to pay these high taxes. And the state budget process is out of control. And the toxic Harrisburg culture has eroded the public's faith. That is why this election is so important. Pennsylvania needs a governor with experience to fix a budget mess. You know my background. As controller, I was the fiscal watchdog of the second largest county in Pennsylvania. And as county executive, I've been in a position to present and have 6 budgets passed on time, balanced, without ever raising property taxes. Pennsylvania needs a governor who understands reform, who understands that we have to get rid of the perks and the pay raises and the power of special interests. I am that Harrisburg outsider in this race, and I have made reform a reality by taking on the status quo in this county and reforming government. And I will take what I've learned here and make sure that we clean up Harrisburg, and I have the record to prove that it can be done. And I'm prepared to do that after we win in November. And Pennsylvania needs a governor who has already turned around an economy, and I want to do it again. Under my leadership, we were able to create an environment here where the private sector want to bring jobs and they want to expand. And what I want to do as governor is create that environment for the entire Commonwealth, because I believe with that environment, the jobs will come back. Because this race is about one issue. It's about jobs, and we're going to get Pennsylvania back to work again. Pennsylvania, they need a governor who has experience to fix government, a governor who will make the state live within its means, a governor who is not part of the Harrisburg culture, a governor who will unite all Pennsylvanians, a governor who will always, always put the taxpayers first. That is why I am running for governor. I can't thank you enough. There's so many people around this state that I got to meet. It was an exciting 2 years almost to see every county, but our battle's half over. We got 6 months, and I'm excited about this race because we... Dan
Honorado, the nominee for the Democrats in the race for governor, and will be taking on, of course, Tom Corbett this fall. Should be an interesting race, and no doubt about it, we have a lot of interesting ones shaping up for this fall.
Exactly. All right. Yeah, I was going to say, and now the current governor, Ed Rendell, we spoke with him about the turnout, about the 2 races that we've been covering in the primary, and we spoke to him just a short time ago to hear what he had to say about how all this shaped up.
Arlen did a great job, and I thought that should have outweighed the anti-incumbency feeling, but it didn't. And, you know, and we understand that. Once the economy tanked, worst recession since the Depression. It's tough for everybody. You know, part of me would like to be running this year because I'd like to take on the challenge because, you know, I love challenges. But I'm not sure I would have fared very well either. So,
how do you think that Congressman Sestak will do in the general?
Well, I think he's got a shot because, number one, he doesn't bear quite the burdency of incumbency as Arlen did, and number two, Congressman Toomey has been working for Wall Street for the last several years. You know, the Club for Growth, let's make no misunderstanding about it, it was the creation of Wall Street. Bear Stearns and all those guys were the ones who started the Club for Growth. And Pat Toomey has been working for Wall Street for a lot of years. And I think that's going to hurt him very badly. So I think Joe has a chance.
Was this race more about, was it all about Arlen Specter? Like, was there anything that Sestak that did that
he picked a great ad company.
You've talked a lot about the campaign group on TV the last few days. What do you think about the job that they did?
I think I love them. They're my campaign group. They've handled me in every election that I've won. But I will tell you that ad saying that Arlen Specter only did it to save his own job, it was all that's wrong about politics. First they took Arlen's quote out of context and didn't show the whole thing.
He was always very forward about the fact that he did
was.
this to stay.
But he didn't do it just to get himself reelected. He did it because he believed in himself and believed he could do good for the people and wanted to stay on doing the good for the people that he's been doing. And so I think it was unfair, number one. And number two, Arlen Specter, make no bones about it, by voting for the stimulus, created or saved 45,000 jobs. How do I know? Because March 30th, the State Department of Labor reported to me there were 20,558 people working in jobs totally in construction, totally paid for by the stimulus.
Governor, was it a mistake for the Specter campaign to attack Sestak's military service?
Yeah, I don't think when you look at what happened tonight, I don't think any one mistake contributed to the loss. I think this was, as I said, anti-incumbency, and it's always difficult to switch parties.
What does it say to you about the fall, was the better candidate against Toomey? How did you get Sestak up to speed now?
Well, I think Arlen would have been a better candidate because all those suburban Republicans who've been voting for Arlen for 30 plus years, he would have gotten his share of them. I'm not sure Joe can do that. Look, we have 1.3 million more Democrats in Pennsylvania than Republicans. We've got to give them a reason to get out and vote this fall. If we do, Joe will win.
Governor, this is the end of an era. Put this moment into context historically for us.
No, I think no one served longer than Arlen Specter, and no one served better or more ably, and no one's done more for the state than Arlen Specter has. And in that extent, it's a sad time because he still had plenty of energy. He still wanted to do some great things, and I think he would have done great things. But Joe Sestak's been a good congressman, and I think if he wins, and I think he has a real good chance to win, he'll be a good senator. I'm sorry.
How will this fracture the Democratic Party, Governor? Will this fracture the Democratic Party?
We'll come together.
Governor Ed Rendell speaking earlier tonight, and fairly frank there, and maybe to some people not maybe surprised that he's not terribly sanguine about Sestak's chances compared to Arlen Specter's chances versus Pat Toomey, but then again, he was at Specter headquarters and hoping for a Specter win.
And had been supporting Specter throughout the primary and obviously voicing the concern that a lot of Democrats probably have right now as they look towards November. Can Sestak pull those moderate, those independents that Arlen's been getting for the past 30 years? And that's the big question.
It is the big question. Let's take a brief break on Election Central. We'll be right back.
69 the anchor desk. Here's Rob Vaughn and Wendy Davis.
All right, welcome back. A lot of the big races done tonight and done early to the surprise of many folks who thought maybe this would be a long night with a lot of these races predicted, especially Sestak and Specter, to go down to the wire being neck and neck, but that one being called relatively early.
Yeah, before 11, I forget the time exactly, but considering the polls were had the two of them deadlocked going into tonight, it wrapped up fairly quickly. Last time we looked at that, well, let's take a look at some of the boards. In fact, we're going to look at some races that we haven't seen or seen much of. Here's a real tight one one. The 6th Congressional District Democratic side. This is where Jim Gerlach holds the seat. He's a Republican. And Doug Pike is leading this one now. It's a close one, though, 53% to 47%. 67% of the districts are counted. There's still a third of them to be counted. Manon Trivedi, the doctor from the Berks County area, giving Pike a good fight.
That's right. On the other side here, we were talking about the incumbent Jim Gerlach. He won this without much of a problem at all right here, as you can see, over Patrick Sellers with 80% of the vote. He is going for his 6th term in Congress.
All right, and to the 130th State House District. The incumbent Democrat is David Kessler, so this is a battle to see who will go against Kessler. David Maloney leading 56% to 44% in District 130. It is a district that has been held by Republicans before.
Right, and we are looking at the 131st district. This one very close, as you can see, and it's showing the incumbent Karin Mallett now trailing Justin Simmons. And look at that, 97% of the precincts reporting could be over for the incumbent, and there's only a couple hundred votes separating at this point, but there is still one precinct left to report.
Right.
So this is really going down to the wire.
Still out there. Okay. Looks like it's an upset in the making for Simmons. And then we go to 137, Rich Grusella's old seat. Frank Scagliotta is your winner in a close one. All the districts are reporting. Remember now, all the numbers come into 69 News from the individual polling places are tabulated here. They're not coming from a central location. And so these are unofficial results. But look at this, only about it's exactly five votes of separation.
Wow.
For Scagliotta over Derr. And to the Republican side now.
That's right. You're looking at this one. Joe Emmerich declared the winner there. This one not quite as close as the Democratic side. 77% of the vote for Joe Emmerich. And once again, this is for Rich Grusella's seat.
And we'll revisit a referendum question in the city of Reading. Do the people want to combine the human resources and the finance departments? Take those department heads and have just one department head and save some money? The people have said yes by a margin of 69% to 31% in the city of Reading.
All right. Dr. Chris Borick's been joining us all evening long, sharing his thoughts on what's been going on out there, and a lot of interesting races and a lot of interesting results tonight, Dr. Borick.
Wendy, it was a very interesting night, and it lived up to its billing in terms of being one of the most dynamic primary seasons we've had in quite some time. And as we talked about before, some really monumental events. I keep coming back to Arlen Specter losing a statewide race in Pennsylvania. That's been a rarity. He's been the ultimate political survivor, and anybody that followed him thought that he might have one more run in him and never counted him out, but finally his time came, and it's indicative and symbolic of the mood that's out there right now in the country. Incumbents are running scared, and while most of the favorites did win tonight, I think you saw some of the party candidates that might have been lesser known make some pretty good runs, and even in local races we saw some upsets, and it's a turbulent political era, and it's going to remain so probably into the fall.
It does seem turbulent. Just on the Republican side, Pat Toomey in his victory speech tonight said, "I've never seen the party more unified." But you have to wonder, if you look at some of these local races and you look down to Kentucky for the Rand Paul upset in that race there, maybe not so unified, huh?
Yeah, there's clearly divisions within the Republican Party. I think there's energy behind the Republican Party right now. There's a sense that they are on the offensive in American politics, and that's probably borne out by a lot of the polls and what we've seen in a number of elections nationally, although in the 12th PA district, Democrats pulled off a win tonight that they'll be talking about tomorrow. But yeah, there's division, and I think you see that in the primaries. You look at the 17th congressional district tonight, a race we didn't really get to talk about, a very close primary in that race. Again, some of the Tea Party candidates performing fairly well in these local races, and right here in the state Senate district in Allentown with Karin Mallett. Race isn't called yet, but it looks like she might go down, and this could be one of the greater successes for people that are supportive of the Tea Party. And so it's not as Congressman Toomey likes to make out a perfect unified picture. There's some divisions in the party, and they'll keep going.
All right, Dr. Christopher Borick from Muhlenberg College, thanks so much for contributing your insights tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, and we're coming to the end of our Election Central for tonight. We're going to talk to some of our reporters and get some of their final thoughts for the evening.
That's right. They've been all around the state covering all the races for us tonight, from governor and senator. And we're going to go where first? We're going to go to Pam Cunningham. She is live. She has been covering the Sam Rohr race for us out there in Lancaster County.
Pam?
Hi, Rob and Wendy. Yeah, that's right, out here in Lancaster County. It's obviously a somber mood here at Sam Rohr's party, but at the same time, very proud. I just spoke with the representative, and he says he's proud of the strong campaign that he's run, realizing that he did not have a lot of money or resources. He says that he's been happy with the conservative message that he's been able to spread throughout the state, and he thinks that if he had another 4 weeks that he possibly could have won, considering the fact that how many people he's been able to find to support him. He got 30% of the vote, so he is very happy and proud of that. Now, I asked him about supporting his competitor, Tom Corbett. He said when he started running, it was about the message, that conservative message. It was not about supporting the political machine. He was not endorsed by the Republican Party. So at this point, he says it depends on what Corbett does with the message, but he's not necessarily ready to throw his weight behind him. Now, Rohr is a Berks County story. He represents our area, and he took a big gamble by running in a statewide election for the very first time. So he is very proud of getting his name out there. He doesn't know what he's necessarily going to do with it at this point. He is not running for his House seat, so he says he will serve out his term until the end of this year, and at this point he's not sure where he'll go next. Reporting live in Lancaster County, Pam Cunningham, 69 News.
All right, thanks so much, Pam.
Thank you. And now to the camp of the victorious gubernatorial candidate on the GOP side. That would be Tom Corbett, of course, and Bo Koltnow is covering the Corbett camp tonight. Bo in Pittsburgh.
Rob and Wendy, not a huge surprise here in Pittsburgh. Tom Corbett was expected to win, and he won decisively. During his victory speech, he thanked his family, but he also thanked his competitor, Sam Rohr, and shared his message for change. Corbett talked about fixing Harrisburg, and he vowed that if elected within his first week in office, he would send out a sweeping reform package to all current legislators. So now this two-term attorney general, originally from Pittsburgh, faces off against Democrat County Executive Dan Honorado. No matter who makes it to Harrisburg in the fall, he's coming out of Allegheny County. And one quick note, aside from gearing up for his campaign, Tom Corbett's also gearing up to be a father-in-law. His daughter is getting married on Friday. Live here in Pittsburgh, Bo Koltnow, 69 News.
All right, thanks so much, Bo.
Oh, thanks very much. And now to Philadelphia, Anthony Williams. We saw him speaking a few moments ago. He was one of the candidates in the governor's race, and Dwayne Parker was covering the Williams campaign.
Robin Wendy, Senator Anthony Williams emphasized in his concession speech that he didn't lose, he just didn't get enough votes. He thanked his supporters, he thanked many of the musicians that were here for this celebration concert for him. American Idol Fantasia was here, and a well-known musician for Philadelphia Music was also here. He thanked all of them for his support. Now, the interesting thing about this race was at the beginning of the night, Senator Anthony Williams was running neck and neck with Dan Honorado, but that race began to separate very quickly, and Dan Honorado won the governor's race tonight. Now, we also asked their campaign if their get out the vote effort was efficient enough. They seem to think that it was. They do not think that the rain hampered any of their get out the vote efforts, and they think they did a good job all around. That's all for now from here, from the Leocore Center here on the campus of Temple University. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Dwayne, thanks very much.
Okay, now we're going to turn our attention to Jaccii Farris. She was covering the Joe Huffle campaign for us tonight. Jaccii.
Joe Huffle may have placed fourth in the primary, but tonight here in Montgomery County, he is number one. Huffle received more than 5,600 votes, beating out the other Democratic candidates for governor by 2-1. Huffle is optimistic about Dan Honorado's campaign for governor and also about the future of Pennsylvania. Huffle says the future of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Well, sorry about that. Apparently that was not the report that Jaccii wanted us to have to wrap things up tonight.
But now we are going to head back out to western Pennsylvania, where Melissa Fullerton is standing by live with the very latest from the Honorado camp. Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
That's right, guys. Well, it was quite a party atmosphere in here until just a couple minutes ago, and that's because if you look to my right over here, our newest Democratic candidate for governor, Dan Honorado, is doing an interview with another station. We already talked to him. We talked to him first, but he is making the rounds and talking about today is the end of one campaign, but tomorrow starts the beginning of another one, and very hard campaign that he is facing in the coming months until November, facing off against fellow Pittsburgher Tom Corbett. Now, when we talked to Dan Honorado a couple minutes ago, he did mention that third-class cities like Allentown and Reading will be his priority. He is the county executive right now here in Allegheny County, so he has several municipalities that he oversees, as well as Pittsburgh, which is also in Act 47. And he says he's going to Harrisburg with that in mind and looking for ways to keep smaller cities and municipalities out of Act 47, like Reading's in right now. So he's going to start that battle tomorrow, start crisscrossing the state. He knows he needs to get his name out there in our area. Certainly tonight, this win helped, but he will be campaigning hard from now until November. So he's going to finish up that interview over here, and then I think they're going to turn the music back on. They were certainly hoping for a victory here tonight. They wouldn't say it, but I think they were expecting that victory here tonight. And so right now, they are just celebrating and enjoying the moment before the work gets started tomorrow. We are live in Pittsburgh. I'm Melissa Fullerton, 69 News.
All right, Melissa, great job. Thank you so much.
All right, now to the Senate race. Pat Toomey, the winner on the Republican side tonight. Karin Mallett's covering the Toomey party at the Best Western in Hanover Township, Northampton County. Karin.
We are here, guys, and we're one of the only ones left in the room. This was an early victory party here in New Hanover Township because this was also one that they had sort of thought was going to turn their way. Unless something major had happened at the polls today, Pat Toomey was going to walk away with this victory. He did that this evening, beating his challenger, Peg Luksek, with at least, I think she only received about 20-some% of the vote. So it was a decisive victory here. So he was no surprise when he came to the podium to make his victory speech. He did thank his family, his wife, and his children were by his side and surrounded by a crowd of supporters who were cheering him on. They've really all along been gearing up not only for this race, but really the race in November, saying that no matter who he challenges, then that he would take that race as well. Of course, we know now that he will be facing Representative Joe Sestak. We asked him about that earlier. He said there are some deciding differences between the two of them and that the choice here in Pennsylvania will be clear for him. He also did mention Senator Specter's long history in politics, and he did thank him for his service. We asked him if there was one he would rather face, and he didn't really answer that question for us, but he went right into the differences between he and Representative Sestak, whom, of course, he'll be facing. Now, he's hitting the campaign trail tomorrow. He says he's going to be in Pittsburgh, and he's making some other stops along the way. He's going to be with Attorney General Tom Corbett. He said that they'll be aligned very much in the next coming months and that he hopes to see him take the race for governor. But tonight, it's all about Pat Toomey here in New Hanover Township. Guys, back to you.
Garrett, thanks so much.
All right, now we're going to head down to Philadelphia, where John Derr has been covering the Arlen Specter campaign. And John, obviously not the way folks there were hoping this was going to turn out tonight.
You know, not at all. And I can tell you that there were a lot of tears here at Specter headquarters tonight after he conceded the race to Congressman Sestak. And in that concession speech, and it was a very short speech, he said it was a privilege to serve the people of Pennsylvania. And Specter also said he'll be working very hard for the people of Pennsylvania in the coming months. Now, Governor Rendell chalked up this defeat to the anti-incumbency feeling that's out there. He also said it's very hard to change parties, as Specter did last year. So basically, it's the end of an era in Pennsylvania politics. After 30 years, Specter's career in the Senate will be coming to an end. But as one longtime supporter told me tonight, he said, you know what? He's won 5 of these things in the Senate, and that's pretty darn good. Live at Specter headquarters in Philadelphia, I'm John Derr, 69 News.
Very true. Thank you so much, John.
All right, and Joe Sestak wants to take over and capture that Senate seat. And wrapping up our coverage tonight with the Sestak campaign in Delaware County, here's Joscelyn Moes. Joscelyn.
Hi, guys. What a night for Joe Sestak. What a night for his supporters. You can hear some of them, you can see some of them up on the stage behind me. Now, Joe Sestak wrapped up his victory speech a little while ago, and in it, he thanked Pennsylvania. He thanked his supporters. He said this is what democracy looks like, and he promised to work hard to earn everyone's trust and confidence as they move forward to the November election, and he said this victory tonight is a clear sign that people want change. As for his former competitor, Arlen Specter, he had nothing but nice words to say about Arlen. And as for Joe Sestak, we just got done doing an interview with him a couple minutes ago, and he admits he has his work cut out for him, but he says he is ready for the challenge and confident that he can beat Republican Pat Toomey come November. But again, a very exciting night here for Joe Sestak and his supporters. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Joscelyn Moes, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That'll do it for our Election Central coverage for tonight.
That's right.
Big stories. Things have wrapped up, and now the candidates are getting ready to roll out their campaigns for November and go to it. We meant, Toomey said he'd be out there in Pittsburgh tomorrow campaigning.
That's right. It all starts all over again tomorrow.
Here we go. And we'll be covering it for you on 69 News. Thanks for watching tonight.
Good night.
Good night.
Congratulations to 69 News, winner of 2009 Associated Press Awards for Best Newscast.